Hello and welcome once again. This is Tom Sullivan, and I am very happy to be talking to an old friend of mine today. My guest today is a teacher, a social worker, a dancer, a swimmer. She's also an egg beater and a waffle iron. That part I made up actually. But she is an all-around great person, and please welcome Susan Shockett. How are you?
Hi,
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I hope the introduction wasn't too flowery. I think I left out nuclear physicist and former Miss America. I should have mentioned that.
Yes, definitely. Former Miss New York. Yes.
Now you're Jewish, and did you know there's only been one Jewish Miss America ever? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Who was that? Why do I know this and you don't?
I don't know. Who was she?
It was Bess Myerson. She was the only. I think
Pretty lady.
She was a beautiful lady.
Yes.
I think for the talent portion, she did whining. I think that's what she did.
The new Jewish wine. Take me to Florida, right?
Is that the newest Jewish wine?
Yes.
Take me to Florida. That's great. So you were a teacher, and then you became a social worker.
Right.
How did you get interested in both of these fields?
I sort of fell into teaching when I was in college. I met some people who were running an alternative school.
Okay.
And I got a degree in special ed, and I got a fellowship to work at the school. And so I did that for quite a while.
Right.
And then came back to New York and continued to teach, but worked with more handicapped kinds of kids.
Okay.
And I found myself being more interested in working with the families of the children, because the problems were usually with parents.
Right.
And they had issues raising these difficult kids, and I decided to go back to social work school.
Right.
So I left teaching, and I pursued a master's. And the first job you could get in social work was in child welfare, so that's how I started my career.
Okay.
25 years in child welfare, and that's how I know you.
That's where we first met.
That's where we met.
Sure.
Right.
25 years in child welfare.
Something like
You
that.
deserve some kind of a
Yes.
Medal of Honor, I think,
Yes.
or Purple Heart.
Yes. Bravery in battle, right.
But
Yes.
now you're doing another kind of social work. So
Yes,
tell me
I
about
am.
that.
I've been working about 2.5 years for a hospital, which
Okay.
is very different than child welfare.
Long Island College?
Long Island College Hospital in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
I work on a medical surgical floor, and I really work mostly with very sick people.
Okay.
Not unlike some of the people I worked with in child welfare, and older people, a lot of geriatric
Okay.
clients, who I like very much, most of them.
So you've gone from one end of the age spectrum to the other.
To the other.
Working with children and now working
With the elderly
old people.
and very sick people, people with HIV and AIDS,
Mm-hmm.
and the elderly. Yeah, and I like working with. I've toyed with the idea of going back into like maternal child health or pediatrics.
Right.
There may be a position that's going to open in a couple of years.
Right.
I kind of like working with, the geriatric population.
Okay.
It's kind of been interesting for me.
Yeah, I work also
Yeah,
work with old
I know.
people right now, and I feel like that's where I'm headed. Although I'm going to get there a lot sooner than you.
Well, I don't know about that,
But it is, and it is interesting because you see people do have issues as they get older, diminished capacity for a lot of things. But I think I've always felt, and because I've done a lot of social work too, that respect for people is very, very important. I think sometimes people feel they get patronized by people in the profession, and especially old people when they can't do as much. Sometimes I think people start to talk to them like they were children,
Like they're children.
and they're not children,
No, yeah.
and they've been through a lot in their lives, and I think they deserve respect and attention. You're originally from Long Island.
I'm originally from the Rockaways.
The Rockaways.
The Rockaways,
Okay.
Queens.
Okay, that's Queens.
And then we
You moved
to Long Island when I was
to
about 12.
Okay.
My father.
And now you are a swimmer. Does growing up in Rockaway, did that have a lot to do with
Being
bridges
a
and swim?
swimmer, yeah.
Because you were at the beach.
They
Right.
threw me in the water when I was about 3.
Uh-huh.
And I've always loved the water. And we spent summers by the ocean.
Right.
I've always, I've loved the ocean.
Uh-huh.
And, I've been swimming since I can remember.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of got away from it for a very long time. It was only till a couple of years ago that I really started to take it up as a hobby.
Get back into it again. It's great.
It's great. It's great. I love when I want to relax. I think of water. I go to the water.
Yeah, it's very calming.
Yeah, it's very calming.
Spiritual kind of thing.
Yeah, I love the ocean in the summer. I have this place I go every summer, 13 years. It's like home away from home. I like the country and I like the mountains, but you know, the ocean.
But you've also spent a lot of time in the city, Brooklyn,
Yes, Brooklyn.
Manhattan. I think you lived there at one point.
In Manhattan.
So right. So the city and all that excitement of New York, does that still do it for you, or do you get a little tired of that, or?
You know, I like going into Manhattan, but I also like Brooklyn.
Right.
It's a neighborhood. I've been living there like 20 years in all the different neighborhoods in Brooklyn. A lot of the brownstone neighborhoods. They've changed a lot over the last couple of years. There's been a more influx of Manhattan in Brooklyn.
Sure. A lot of the yuppies coming over the bridge into
A lot of the yuppies.
Brooklyn Heights.
But it's still a neighborhood. I like going to Manhattan. I still go in. I don't go in quite as often. I live and work in Brooklyn. I'm very spoiled. I take a bus to work 15 minutes and I'm home. I don't have to deal with subways.
That's nice.
I like that. So I feel like I'm a real Brooklyn girl.
Okay. From Long Island to Brooklyn. Some
Brooklyn.
people go in the opposite direction.
Yeah, some people definitely start in the city and they're
the goal
aspirations
is
to go
Long
to the
Island.
suburbs.
You did it in reverse.
I did it in reverse.
Now you lived in the 5 towns. The famous 5 towns.
Yes.
Now, people sometimes argue over which towns are the 5 towns. I'm going to ask you for $1 million, name the 5 towns.
$1 million? This is not like the $16,000 question. Hewlett, Inwood, Cedarhurst, Lawrence, and Woodmere.
Okay.
Am I right?
You won $1 million.
$1 million. I could retire now.
Yes,
right?
Because people aspire to the 5 towns. That's like there's certain cachet with that. I'm not sure what that is.
I don't really like saying I'm from the 5 towns too much. It has there's some. I'm supposed to sound like I'm from the 5 towns.
Everyone has a kind of upper class Jewish sort of connotation, I suppose.
Long Island, you know. I don't want to, you know, I mean, I don't think I have one of those heavy Brooklyn accents, or heavy, whatever, Jewish accent, whatever that is.
No, it's hard to place you as far as where you're from. But some people like to pretend they're from the 5 towns. They're fakers. They're charlatans.
They're charlatans.
You were the real deal.
I was the real deal. I graduated from Lawrence High School. That's right.
That's great. And Syracuse University, right?
Syracuse University, a long time ago.
And 2 masters, right? From Syracuse and
Hunter. Hunter. Yeah, I did my MSW at Hunter in 1987.